everybody. Happy Saturday. Happy day 143 of the year. How are you feeling this morning? It is another grey and cloudy day here in Istanbul, but it's still lovely out. I'm sitting here watching the sea behind me, watching the boats go by, just enjoying a nice yin, quiet start to my day. And hopefully that's available to you as well, wherever you are in the world. Remember that the mornings are the time of the yin. In the cycle of the day, we start in the morning in the yin time, and then gradually we move into more movement, more masculine, more yang. So enjoy these yin moments in the morning. Start slow, drink an extra cup of tea or coffee if that's available to you. Sit and contemplate in silence, maybe do some stretching, focus on your breath, do a meditation, whatever it is, just to start your day off in a nice, quiet, intentional way, especially on the weekends. That's what the weekends are all about. So we're on day 143 of the year, and according to 365 Tao by Deng Ming Dao, day 143 is on the subject of intuition. So grab your books, grab your journal and something to write with, and find a nice quiet and comfy place where you're not going to be disturbed for the next 15 minutes or so while we read together. If you can be outside in the natural world like me, I encourage you to do that. It's not super quiet where I am because, again, I'm in another city. There's 20 million people in Istanbul, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me. So it's a little challenging for me to find a nice quiet place at the moment, but I am outside nonetheless. So I invite you to find a place, if you can be outside in the natural world, that's a great way to start your day. Take a nice deep breath in with a long exhale out. Be here and now and present, and let's start reading together on the 143rd day of the year on the subject of intuition. Hawk doesn't think during the hunt. It does not care for theory or ethics. All that it does is natural. Animals live simple lives close to Tao. They do not need to think or reason. They never doubt themselves. When they are hungry, they eat. When they are tired, they sleep. They respond to the cycles of the day according to their intuition. They mate at the proper season, and they nurture their young according to their own understanding. When they die, they fall under the teeth of predators or the dispassionate turning of the seasons. So we just need to look to the natural world, right, to the animal world, to the animal kingdom, to look how harmoniously they live with the cycles of nature. And I love how it says here, they never doubt themselves. And, you know, when they're hungry, they eat. When they're tired, they sleep. They don't overthink anything. They're just intuitively moving through their day, moving through their lives, and they don't doubt themselves. They just do. That's the difference between the animal and the human world, right? We have a much different sensibility when it comes to intellectualizing everything. Animals don't do that. They live more intuitively, more in touch with the natural world. So let's continue. By contrast, we as human beings depart from the natural norm and worry about ethical action. Extremes of behavior have become more varied, running the gamut from the sadistic to the moralistic. Tao considered all this artificial and unnatural. Why divorce ourselves from nature? Such a great question. The follower of Tao prefers to live completely in concert with Tao, avoiding the interference of theory and excessive thought. Though one must first learn skill and ethics thoroughly, one must come to embody them so completely that they become self-conscious. I really love that, because how do you have to learn these skills and ethics, right? You learn them thoroughly, but then how do you have to learn them so that they become, as it says here, like completely embodied and subconscious? You have to practice, right? That's how you build skill. That's how you get better at anything, is practice, practice, practice until you get to that point where you're not even trying anymore. You're just, as it says here, you're subconsciously doing things. You don't even have to think about it. You just know what to do. And that comes from building your skill through those repetitive, like we're doing here every single morning, committing to a practice, doing it every day. And I'm sure now, after 143 days, I hope that this has just become part of your routine. You don't even have to think about it in the morning. You're like, all right, I'm waking up, grabbing my book, doing my meditation, doing my practice, doing my reading, writing in my journal. Hopefully it's just become such an ingrained part of who you are that it's not even something that I mean, of course we're practicing, but it's not something that you have to intentionally practice. You're just subconsciously doing it. That is the beauty of something when you've built it up for so many like repetitions. It's like going to the gym, you've got to put your reps in. Once you've done it so many times, it just naturally becomes a part of who you are. And that's how you build any skill until it says here, until it becomes subconscious. Reacting to a situation by asking what is right and wrong is already too slow. One must intuitively do what is correct. There should be no foreshadowing of an act, nor doubt about oneself. So that's a really beautiful way to think about that. Like, you intuitively do what is correct. You don't have to think about it like, oh, is this the right thing to do? Is this the wrong thing to do? No, you just act from your intuition. You instinctively know what is right or wrong. And that can be applied to anything. That can be applied to your own well-being, can be applied to your own safety. You have to second guess yourself like, oh, gee, I don't know, should I really be doing this? That's, you're not, as it says here, you're not really like the animal kingdom. They don't doubt themselves, they just do things. But humans, we start intellectualizing. We're like, oh, well, I don't really know. And it's what I guess the teaching of this passage today is to try to move through life more intuitively. Try to get out of your intellectual brain and be more in an embodied state where you're moving from an intuitive position rather than an intellectual one. And that can be really challenging because, as we keep saying, as humans, it's important for us to have book smarts and street smarts. And that's really what this is. It's a combination of the intellect, the mind, but the street smarts is more intuitive. It's more your intuition. It's listening to your body. It's listening to those sensations. If you get that little gut sense, like, oh, something feels a little off, or, whatever, you've got to listen to that. That's your intuition. But you've got to blend it with your intellectual mind as well. You shouldn't really let one or the other, like, take too much control. It should be, like everything else in life, a balance. So I invite you to reread this in your own time. Pull any sentences out of here that really resonate with you, and maybe ponder this question. Why divorce yourself from nature? What can you perhaps do today to be a little closer to the natural world and move in a way that's a little more intuitive and a little more in touch with nature? So thank you so much for being here for 143 days of this year, and I will check in with you tomorrow. Bye.